We're now heading into peak summer. This is the season U.S. tourism officials and U.S. businesses kept pointing to, saying things would turn around by now. Things will pick up once the summer season starts. This is just a phase, and the tourists will be back. Those were some of the comments I saw on my previous videos, and I remember them well, because I said those words would come back to bite them. Today's update covers what's happening along the West Coast border, but I wouldn't be surprised if it reflects the situation all the way to the Maritimes. And before we jump in, today's backdrop was sent by one of our Blue Sky viewers, Geneva. She took this on a bike ride overlooking Okanagan Lake. Thanks for sharing that with all of us. All right, let's get into the report.
It's everything from cruise lines to cross-border gas and groceries. British Columbians are slashing their spending in the U.S. Van Cities crunched the numbers, and the results are staggering.
Packed with people, Canada Place home to multiple ships Monday. Most of the passengers, American. Canadians, by and large, avoiding spending on U.S. vacations.
Everything from the day trips to buying less groceries across into Washington State, or going to do a weekend trip to Seattle, or just their family holidays they're not doing anymore.
The numbers go deeper. Spending is down 47% in Washington State. In the U.S. as a whole, it's down 1/3. Online shopping at U.S. retailers has dropped by 14%, with the biggest drop in clothing purchases.
What's really interesting from our perspective is this is really hard dollars data. Our members, we have almost 600,000 of them, are spending significantly less in the U.S. A year-over-year change of that magnitude is would have been unthinkable a year ago.
Keep your eye on this number, 47%. It's going to come back in the second report, and it matters a lot when we talk about what's happening just across the border in Blaine. That town is feeling the impact, hard. Now Wellington from Vancity Group put it pretty clearly. Canadians just aren't going south anymore. And when a credit union like Vancity says that, I believe it. They're not guessing. They're looking at real transaction data from credit and debit cards. That's hard data, not speculation. No more day trips. No more cross-border grocery runs. No more weekends just to fill up gas and shop. That money, the money the U.S. used to count on, isn't flowing anymore. Let me give you an example. My wife and I used to make weekend runs. Stop in Blaine to grab packages, head down to Bellingham for lunch, do a grocery run at Trader Joe's. Easily $300 to $400 on gas, food, and shopping. And if we added the outlet mall, that number jumped even more. Now take that same 300 or so and multiply it by thousands of cars across all of Canada that aren't going anymore. That's millions the U.S. border towns aren't seeing. Let me know in the comments, what was your average spend when you used to go cross-border shopping like we did? Share with the community how much of your own money the U.S. is not getting anymore.
Experts say the downturn matches the drop in cross-border traffic. Crossings into Whatcom County are down roughly 40%. The holdback of Canadian customers is having an impact on businesses along the I-5 corridor. What's unusual about this downturn is how sharp the decline was and how consistent Canadians have been with their preferences to spend elsewhere.
And while it seems to have stabilized, it is certainly sticking. We will see what happens in July and August, which tends to be the busiest cross-border travel season for our region.
The Vancity data agrees. The spending decline did begin to slow during the spring. The credit union plans to continue to track its members' spending.
One question will be how quickly Canadians revert back to old behaviors. Even if Canada and the U.S. sign a trade deal, experts say it could be some time before spending volume returns to a pre-Trump level. Chris?
All right, thanks very much for that, Aaron. And while consumer spending in the U.S. is way down, there are not a lot of made-in-Canada options for some businesses and services. Vancity business card holders spent nearly $30 million last year on companies like Google, Amazon, and PayPal. And so far this year, those numbers are holding steady. Canadian investment in Mexico is also way up, with the total value of peso wire transfers quadrupling over the past year, largely for high-value purchases like vacation properties.
Some of us aren't going back to old habits, but the reality is some Canadians will. They'll head south, spend money, and say it's not a big deal. That's their choice, but it's not mine. What is encouraging, though, is seeing more Canadians pulling out of the U.S. entirely, selling their places in Florida, Arizona, even Hawaii, and moving their money to places that actually feel safe. That shift? It lines up with comments I saw in a previous video, and now with this data on Mexican peso transfers. It's happening, and I'm glad it is. Now, remember that 47% number I mentioned earlier. Keep it in the back of your mind, because this next clip from Blaine's Chamber of Commerce, it puts that number into perspective. Let's take a look.
Americans are celebrating Independence Day today. It's a day when British Columbians might also consider traveling across the border into Washington state to take part in the festivities. That might not be the case this year, though, with cross-border travel to the U.S. continuing to plummet. New data shows 118,000 vehicles crossed into Washington state from BC last month, down from 206,000 from the same time a year ago. That's a decline of about 42%. And the fifth straight month, cross-border travel numbers are down. Don Enos is the vice president of the Blaine Chamber of Commerce south of the border. He joins us now to discuss this. Good morning, Don, and happy Independence Day to you.
Good morning, and thank you. Yes, very much. Happy Independence Day.
So do you typically see many British Columbians travel to Washington state for the 4th of July celebrations in years past?
We do. This is one of the, it's our birthday, but, with Canada Day being what it is and so close, it's like one big celebration that we get to celebrate here in Blaine specifically all week long. So many of us celebrate both holidays.
Yeah. So do you know how the numbers have been this year so far, and do you expect the numbers to be significantly lower for this celebration this year?
So we anticipate that the numbers are just really going to be low. We're hoping, like maybe that today, everybody watching your show will hop in their cars and come down and clog up that border crossing for a change.
Yeah, no, sorry, that's not happening. We're now in peak summer, the moment U.S. businesses and Donald's supporters swore we'd come back. I remember those comments from April. They'll be back when the sun's out, or they'll be back. Where else is there to go? Nope. And that mindset, it shows just how arrogant and out of touch some of them are. Now, this Chamber of Commerce guy, I don't think he's one of them. He actually looks worried. And to be fair, I do feel for him. But let's not forget, blue state or not, his county is still part of the same federal system that helped create this mess. And even in any blue state, there are residents that are still part of the 77 million who voted Donald in.
Border waits have not been long, but yeah, it's not very optimistic. But we do see a lot more people coming from other communities to help us. I would say keep our businesses running, keep our restaurants open. But traffic down really hurts our tourism this time of year.
Totally understandable. Yeah, so how do you expect this boycott of U.S. travel by British Columbians to continue? Do you expect it to go long, and how is it impacting Blaine businesses specifically?
Well, it's really taken a toll on business owners and the way that they operate. We have made many adjustments to schedules, personnel, kind of the way our marketing has been done. I think that the way that we look at things as more optimistic, we try to continue to be the neighbors that we've always been. We understand the buy local mindset that I think everybody should have more often than traveling, 40 miles to a big box major retailer. But the big thing I keep encouraging everybody is that the global politics that have created this issue for Blaine, for example, really hasn't changed the people. And the people are who we have our relationships. Many of us are friends, family, and coworkers that work cross-border. And I think that's where we need to get back to understanding is that get past what's going on at a higher level and come back to our community level and do the things that we enjoy doing. And hopefully that's coming down to see Blaine and have dinner and enjoy a parade today.
I'm really curious how many BC residents actually crossed into the U.S. for the 4th of July parade. But here's the thing that often gets overlooked. There's a line that stretches across the entire country, starting right at the Peace Arch. And that line is not just a border, it's a wall of deterrence. The guards, the questions, the tone, intimidation, the secondary checks, those are the reasons many Canadians are saying no thanks. Fix that, and maybe you'll see a few of us back. But right now, that line is a hard stop.
I know Canadians do feel badly for business owners in Blaine and its citizens. I'm just curious, how vocal are you as a chamber in terms of speaking to your elected officials that something has to be done on a higher level to prevent this downturn in tourism?
Well, I think prevention we're beyond that at this point. I think recovery is the better solution for all of us. I know that our governments at the highest level continue to have their conversations. And unfortunately, when we look at the global economic impact that tariffs have on both countries, White Rock and Blaine or Surrey and New Westminster, some of this doesn't put a drop in the bucket when it comes to the global economics of what they're trying to, I don't know if it's accomplished in a good and positive way or accomplished in a negative way, but it definitely affects how the businesses are today.
He's right about one thing. What's happening in Blaine? Barely a blip on the radar for the White House. To them, is just a local issue. But this might be an idea. There are hundreds of towns like Blaine stretched across this long, undefended border, and if you all made noise together, that drop in the bucket starts to feel a lot heavier. I know it's easier said than done, but if I were in your shoes, I'd be rallying hard. Talk to your neighbors, link arms with other towns, push it up the chain. Because when your country's falling apart, doing something, even small, is better than staying quiet.
Long term, I think we'll find that everybody will get along better. Mm-hmm. And that's the goal, I think we just need to get back to being more neighborly, and understanding that it's easy just to hop across the border and have dinner. And there isn't a tariff on dinner. Mm-hmm. There isn't a tariff at the beach. There isn't, so we just need to come back to what is it that you enjoy doing? And like my wife and I, we still go to Stanley Park. There isn't anything that would stop us.
Well, Blaine,
we enjoy it.
Yeah.
And why not?
Yep. Blaine will continue to be great neighbors for us in British Columbia. Don, again, happy 4th of July. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you. You guys have a great day. Happy 4th.
I feel for this guy, but what he wants for Blaine, Canada can't provide that anymore. Not right now. Not while the mess in the White House continues. And even if that mess were gone tomorrow, there are still 77 million of your fellow U.S. citizens backing it all up. People like this guy right here.
We're looking forward to having you as our 51st state.
Canadians are making a stand. Over 40% fewer visits to Washington state. That's not a small dip. That's a statement. And going into the peak of summer, it's clear. This isn't changing anytime soon. If you're part of a border town trying to win us back with deals and ads, it's time to rethink that plan. Promotions won't fix what's broken. And before I close out, just a quick note to the amazing people watching. I know some of you feel I haven't responded to your comments or emails. It's not that I'm ignoring you. This started with a few hundred messages a day. Now it's thousands. I've got a full-time job, and I run this channel on the side. So if I miss your message, please know I still appreciate it. This community, it's the best part of what we've built together. Maybe I'll bring on a few of you as moderators soon. We'll see. If this video spoke to you, hit like and subscribe to help spread the message. Share it with others and tap the bell so you don't miss future uploads. And if you're still watching, check out the videos on screen now. Thanks for being here. See you in the next one.